Welcome back. Now to our next conversation. Well, it's about ease of doing business in Nigeria. That's what's been dominating our conversation so far. And now recently, the Ease of Doing Business Bill, also known as the Omnibus Bill, was passed its second reading at the Nigerian Senate earlier this year. Let's discuss this and other matters now with Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Special Advisor to the President on Ease of Doing Business and Secretary to PEBEC. Great to have you on the show. Good morning. Great to have you join us this morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. So tell us about this Ease of Doing Business Bill, aka the Omnibus Bill.
So the Omnibus Bill is a collaborative effort with the public and private sector. It's been on since 2018. We've been working with private sector stakeholders, NESG, the Section of Business Law of the Nigerian Bar Association. We worked with the National Assembly, Business Roundtable, and on the public sector side, the Ministry of Justice, a lot of other ministries, departments, and agencies. The aim is to scoop up all the redundant and irrelevant, and also the provisions in certain bills that are a bit of bottlenecks, as defined by private sector or by a ministry, department, and agency itself. So it's a bill that aggregates a number of different provisions across about 13 pieces of legislation and proposes reforms. So that's why it's called an omnibus bill. It's a tool that is used in different parts of the world: Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Kenya also has one for their MSMEs, Mauritius. So this is the first time Nigeria is having an omnibus bill for its business environment. However, the finance bill can be considered an omnibus bill in a sense, because that bill has also been aggregating over the last 3 years. The finance acts have also been aggregating legislation amendments in the tax regime area.
Quite interesting. And, you know, Nigeria recently ranked about 131 among 190 economies for ease of doing business. That was the last ranking we got. And I'm wondering, you know, what is being done to get us up higher, you know, on that ranking?
Well, not so recently, actually. That was 2019, and that report has been discontinued by the World Bank.
Yes, exactly.
You may recall, yes,
Yeah.
So that's that. I mean, the World Bank has stopped doing that ranking. But thankfully, Nigeria was already ahead of the curve. We had our own plans to go deeper ourselves, because the World Bank tool was fine. We used it to track the business cycle from inception, from starting a business all the way to insolvency, and we made good traction. You recall that twice in the last 3 years of that report, Nigeria was adjudged to be a top 10 global reformer, most improved business climate, and we moved 39 places in our rankings year on year aggregate. But be that as it may, what we prefer to focus on is the impact, the tangible impact that MSMEs give us as feedback all across the country. So since 2017, we've been partnering with the National Economic Council, the NEC, which is a council made up of governors and some federal ministers, like the Minister of Finance, and it's chaired by His Excellency, the Vice President. And the governors agreed unanimously to replicate the PEBEC model of iteration from ideation, engagement with private sector, and identifying certain reforms and actually carrying them out. So we've been doing that since 2017. You may recall our lituation tour, going around the country, talking with MSMEs. We have 6 priority sectors. We like to focus tangibly on younger entrepreneurs, which is not necessarily about age, but it's about the demographic and the faster moving parts of the economy, like the tech sector, creative sector, agribusiness, decentralized power, transport and logistics. So we do and of course, light manufacturing. So we do quite a bit in those areas. Now, partnering with NEC has meant that we've been able to cascade ease of doing business across the country, because you know that no business is domiciled at the federal level. Even if it's in the FCT, it's working within a subnational business environment. So that collaboration has been extremely important. We went ahead to release our inaugural and baseline Ease of Doing Business report on Nigeria in 2021. And the recommendations from that report, based on it was carried out by KPMG, based on feedback from the private sector, ensured that states were able to target specific interventions. Now, we've gone further than that. The second iteration of that report will be coming out at the beginning of October. But in addition to that, we've been partnering with the World Bank since 2019. We've been talking about a program to help deepen subnational reforms. Now, that program has recently been approved by the PEBEC, the NEC, the World Bank. In fact, all roads lead to implementation come January 2023.
That's about $750 million
Yes.
intervention.
Yes.
And I'm wondering,
Yes.
what can we expect, from that intervention?
Okay, yeah. That's just my most exciting thing right now. So I know that I'm preempting your questions, which is good. So the Saber is state actions on the business environment, having worked with state governments for a while and consolidating that idea of having uniform reforms that we're all working on at the subnational level. The PEBEC team, the PEBEC Secretariat team, has worked with the World Bank team to develop a program that has about 4 areas. We'll be looking at about 8 disbursement-linked indicators. So to go back a bit and give you some background, the program is going to be a $750 million program for results over the next 3 years, from 2023 to 2025. And what that means is that after states have delivered results, they will get a reimbursement. So the disbursement-linked indicators span 4 areas. Now, the Saber intervention itself, the government Saber envelope, is about $2 billion. And that comes from the aggregation of state expenditure budgets over the next 3 years as captured under the National Development Plan. So at the federal level and at the subnational level, an aggregation of all the interventions and the areas that we hope to work on over the next 3 years and deliver results on is $2 billion. So the Saber program at $750 million comes in at about 36% of that.
Right.
The 4 areas, the first area would cover about land registration. So the disbursement-linked indicator under that is a single one, has to do with transparency of the process and the structure of getting COOs at the state levels. And the second area has to do with just making sure that we can digitize the economy. So right of way, fiber optic laying, how states can incentivize businesses that will be laying fiber optic cables in the environment just to jumpstart the digital economy, which is of critical importance, as we all know.
And Dr. Doctor, sorry to cut you, Doctor, but some will say, is doing business in Nigeria. We have issues from security, power, to regulations, stifling innovation. And I'm wondering, if these issues are not solved, are we going to get the benefits of this intervention?
Well, that's exactly what it is. There's no shortcut. So as I was saying, the third area deals with public-private partnership frameworks. You have to develop a PPP framework across states. This is the only way to crowd in larger investments and to make sure that those can be delivered at the states. Our MSMEs, as we know, contribute just under 50% of the GDP, but by far most of them are micro and even nano. How do we support them to scale? These are the reforms that need to be done in this area. And then investment promotion also needs to be supported. So having a coordinated and consolidated effort across the country on making sure that investment promotion. Then the fourth bucket is the regulatory, the legal framework, small claims courts, having expedited access to justice, transparency, having the procedures and the costs properly spelled out online so that everybody can know what's expected of them in every state across the country, having a tax regime at the subnational, including local government levels, simplified, and making sure that our businesses are able to be more competitive, both domestically and for export. Now, these are the areas, these are the reforms. So these things are not in abstract. They're very detailed reforms. If you follow the work of the PEBEC, We didn't just get recognized by the World Bank based on feedback from private sector in Nigeria because of optics or because of fancy presentations. There's no doubt that we have a lot of challenges in the country right now, but we have to just continue focusing and doing the work. And I'm so happy and proud that the governors are committed to this intervention. It's a tangible intervention. It's not even, so the recommendations from the second iteration of the annual ease of doing business report for Nigeria by Nigerians will be released at the beginning of October. That will also form part of the state action plans. What I should say is that the states have to create, to be eligible to get to access to these funds, the states have to prepare a state action plan in collaboration with private sector in the states, and that has to be approved by the EXCO and published online. So these are not things that are going to be vague in any way. The program also leverages on SIFTAS, which is another World Bank program that is running to a close after about 3 years, that has remarkably improved the fiscal responsibility and debt sustainability profiles at the subnational level.
Okay.
So it's a whole package for the country, and it's tangible, it's empirically measurable, and we know that it will deliver because it's been a proven way of delivering results.
Right. Well, we'll keep tracking, the intervention and all that you're doing there. Thank you so much, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Special Advisor to the President on Ease of Doing Business and Secretary to PEBIC. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
All right, now.